Blah, 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 blah. These have been sitting here so long, they're dusty, waiting for me to do my review. Oh, I don't even remember what months these were, so I gotta double check because it's literally been that long. I think it's June and July. Definitely June and July. Alright, alright. June was a sad month. I didn't get a whole lot done. To be fair, it was a good idea that I didn't do my 30 books in 30 days in June because I only read 2 books in June. So there's my little spread with the purple. I really like the purple color. I will be doing that again. And then there's my reading. Like, I still read, but not enough. And then my lovely 2 little things. And then July I picked a nice teal color. So there's that. And we're just doing June and July in this video, obviously, because there was only 2 June. So there's the June-July spreads, you know? So we're just gonna go in because out of the 2, I read 2 books in June and 5 books in July. And you know what? That's good enough for a wrap up for me. So to start, actually, June was really sad. Both of my books were 3 stars, and the first one that I read was The Exiled Queen by Cinda Williams-Chima. This is the 2nd book in this series, and truly, once again, after the Demon King, nothing really happened. I really tried. This is just, I don't know, so many pages of absolutely nothing. 585 pages, something like that, somewhere around 590. Yeah, nothing happens. I'm just basically reading this series to let everybody know what happens because nobody else is going to read it now that I've talked about how not good it is. It's not that it's not good, like, it's well written. Cinda Williams-Chima is a great writer. She's a great author. This is just a product of its time and definitely like some of the first stuff she ever wrote, and definitely wrote the equation. This is the equation that everybody else has used since then to come up with their stuff. This is the OG, and so there's nothing really special or different about it, and that's totally okay. But in this one, we're following Han still, and we're also following, ooh, what's the girl's name? Reza, the princess. They are both at school in this one, but they're at different schools across the town from each other. They don't really talk to each other, but they do figure out that they're both there. Reza is she's still Rebecca, so she's pretending to be somebody else while she goes to this military school, and Han is becoming a wizard, so he is a wizard. So it's very slow, and I'm expecting the last book to just blow up, and if it doesn't, I'm gonna be very disappointed. The other book that I read I also gave 3 stars, and that was A Game of Fate by Scarlett St. Clair. This is the first in the Hades saga. She's rewriting her Persephone books from Hades' point of view, and you definitely can tell in this. This one has the feel that she took the Hades or the Persephone book with all the Hades scenes in them and just changed some pronouns and stuff and added some thoughts, and then choppily put in scenes of Hades in his own life doing an investigation. It was super choppy. There was no flow to this. She didn't rewrite anything at all. Like, she just copied and pasted from the first book, A Touch of Darkness. But it was still, like, enjoyable. Like, I still was like, oh, I like this investigation part she added, even though it just felt like she threw it in there. So, you know, she did try, and I will continue reading. It was just very choppy and weird. So 3 stars. So that was June. Now moving on to July, where I read 5 books. And the first one, this was like a lot better. July was a lot better, I will say that. First one I gave 4 stars to, and that was The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. I will tell you, I did listen to the audiobook for this one, and it was really hard to get into, in the sense that I knew which character was which, and I knew which area was which, but did I remember any names of people or names of towns or anything? No. I was like, that's the princess. That's a Dragon Rider one. Dragon Rider one. I think it was that one. Totally a Zuko character. I have the vlog where I'm talking about this more in depth, but I was like, yeah, this is a Zuko character redeeming the honor and dealing with dragons, and it was good. This as a standalone, perfect. I definitely recommend this if you are into fantasy and you want to. This is like after you've read Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson, come to this one. Okay, It's a little bit more in depth of a fantasy, so you have to have a baseline of fantasy before you come into it. But also, I feel like if you're still new to fantasy, it will make sense. Does that make sense? I'm just rambling. This is like if you're moving from YA to adult. This one is a good one. It's a good choice. It's a good fantasy. Not to mention, you're not worrying about a whole series. It's just this. By the way, this book is not that long. Okay? It is about 20 pages longer than Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. It's not that long. It just looks insane because they made it, published it huge. Okay? This is not that long. It's like 830 pages. It's like shorter than It by Stephen King. Like, don't be intimidated by the size. It's not that big. It's not that big of a deal. It just looks scary. The next book I read was the Gracier by Kim Liggett. This was I think this was my June book. I have a whole vlog coming of this. I don't know if it's going up before this video or after this video, but there's a whole vlog of me reading this book. It was one of my monthly challenges. It was really awesome. I give it 5 stars, and it was very difficult because I read probably half of it, and then the other half I was like, I can't physically read this, I need to listen to the audiobook, so I listened to the audiobook. But once I got over my fear that everything was going to be secondhand embarrassment, which it was not, it was perfectly fine, and I totally could have physically read the whole book. In this one, we're following, oh my gosh, Tyranny James, who is coming up to her 16th year. She's turning 16 in that year, and during that year, every girl in the town that is entering their 16th year gets sent to the woods to live in this little space area for the year, and it's supposed to let them release their magic so that they come back and they can be wives and mothers and workers and not have any magic in them. And the whole town believes that like all women have magic and they need to go there and get rid of it. And sometimes the girls come back with missing limbs, sometimes they come back with scars. There's just like shit that happens and nobody talks about it. So Tyranny has no idea what she's getting herself into. She has no idea what to expect when she gets there, and she's very afraid. And the whole first half of the book is kind of like leading up to the second year, or to the Gracier, or mostly leading up to it. There's like a lot in place where there's ceremonies where she's supposed to get a husband, and to be honest, like the ending of this was so indeterminate. I loved it. I am starting to really love the indeterminate endings, and this one was one where you're like, ooh, what happened? We don't know. And it was really good. I definitely recommend this book. 5 stars. Amazing. The next book I don't actually have with me because I lent it to my brother to read, and it is Clown in a Cornfields, and I don't remember who it's by. Adam, maybe? Adam something? Let me check. Adam Cicero. I'm not gonna be able to say his last name. Adam something. It's up here. I gave this one 4 stars, I think. I did. This was a fun horror book that I read for the Summerween Readathon as my slasher, and it was honestly super fun. I have not read a horror book like this before, and for it being a YA, it was still creepy and spooky enough to like make me entertained, and I very much enjoyed it. It made me want to read even more horror books. And basically the premise of this one is this town is just filled with these teenagers who are always online. They're always live streaming, they're always partying, they're always documenting their lives, and one of the younger siblings of one of the main characters ends up falling into a lake and hitting her head and dying. And the parents of the town have blamed this on the kids always being online, always documenting their lives, and never truly being contributing people to the community, you know? So they devise a plan to, in a year, murder all of the children, and it is so good. Oh my gosh, so good. You just like, out of all the horror books, this is a good intro horror because it's very different and very not what I was expecting. It is kind of like There's Someone Inside Your House by Stephanie Perkins, and also Vampire Diaries mushed together, and those are just the vibes I got, and it was so good. Oh my gosh, better than There's Someone Inside Your House though, I will say that. Which brings me to the next book that I read, which is also Stephanie Perkins, and that is The Woods Are Always Watching. Indeterminate ending. The best one. Oh my gosh. 2 best friends are going their separate ways because one of them is going off to college and the other one is not, and they decide as their last hurrah they're gonna go on a hike in the woods for about 3 days. They're going camping, and it doesn't really go well for them, obviously, because there are some murderers afoot. And this one is really short, really sweet, and it was better than her first one. I'll give her that, because the first one was her first horror YA. This one is a lot better. And Determinate Ending, the best one, even better than the Gracier. So which is weird because I gave this one 3 stars. It took a lot to get to the exciting moments, but I still loved it. That, and it was like super short. I can't remember why I gave this 3 stars actually. Hang on, give me a second. Okay, so I said creepy concept and good for a YA book for sure. I also loved the ending. Seriously, the best ending I could have asked for. So I don't know why it was 3 stars. Maybe I gave it like 3.75 on Storygraph. I can't remember. But definitely, if you're getting into horror, also this one. YA horror, honestly, so good. This was also, I think, my read at night, which I didn't end up reading at night or in the dark. I read on the plane, mostly, because I went on holiday. And my last book for the month and my last book for Summerween was The Shadows by Alex North. Now, if you've read The Whisper Man, that one is good. This one makes references to The Whisper Man, but it is better. The Shadows are a reference to these creepy woods outside this guy's house, outside of his childhood home, and he has come home because his mother has fallen ill and she's not doing so hot. She's not doing so hot. I don't know why I phrased it like that, but I did. Anywho, following him in the present, taking care of his mom and remembering things from the past, and also him and his friends in the past when one of his friends died. But the good part about this is that you don't know what actually happened until the end of the book. They just spring it on you. It is a surprise. It's very different. You're very surprised. Like, I give this one 5 stars. It is better than The Whisper Man by far, because there are more secrets kept till the end that you're just gonna, your mind is gonna be blown. Oh my gosh. Alex North really knows. He really knows. He just gets it. And it was really creepy, creepier than The Whisper Man for sure. Even though The Whisper Man deals with children, this one also deals with children in a different way. All of his childhood friends murdered one of his other childhood friends, and he is trying to remember what happened that day, what happened leading up to it, because the crime itself has been copied by several other kids and teenagers from the time that his first original crime happened to the present. And one in the present day is so bad that they are asking him questions about it, because now some people who were connected to the crime have since passed on and have been murdered. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot of people being murdered. There's a lot of mystery, a lot of questions, and just not a lot of we know what's happening. You don't know what's happening. You can make all the guesses you want, but you're not going to know what's happening until the end, okay? And I love that about this. And so those are the books that I read. I would have to say, out of everything, my favorite was probably The Shadows. I genuinely love this so much. So good. This is like one of my favorite books of the whole year. I swear. This was just incredible. Amazing. 10 out of 10. So out of all those books in June and July, The Shadows was my favorite. Love to know what your favorite read was in June and July, or if you have one for each, let me know. We can talk about it in the comments. Maybe I have read about it before. Have read about it. Maybe I've read it before. Oh my gosh. But thank you so much for watching. I hope that the rest of the year will be fine. I haven't uploaded a video in so long. Anywho, life just gets in the way sometimes, and that's okay. I'm having a good time anyways. I'm not stressed about it. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye! Ooh, that's like a whole lot of gel.